Hey, what's up, gang? So, look, I know that I've been sharing a lot and doing a lot of live streams, just talking about all this fun stuff going on. And I just want to share with you how my past like 7 to 10 days has been. And, as happy and as go lucky as I am, I'm very open to the fact that I'm learning just like you're learning, and I'm trying to grow through this just like you're trying to grow through this. And dude, I don't know. We're just trying to all like be better at the end of it. So I can tell you this, that I finally reached the stage of acceptance. And, when you're going through change and when you're dealing with losses or whatever, there's all these different stages that you'll go through. And I don't care if it's small or big or whatever, but the final one is acceptance. And the faster you can get to acceptance, the faster you can move on. And I don't mean acceptance of like the small things, like the gym had to temporarily close or something like that. I'm talking about acceptance of the situation. Me personally, dude, I was not in a good spot. I have not been in a good spot for, I don't know, 7 or 10 days. There's a small amount of period where you're in denial, where you're just like, I hope things are going to get better when we're on the other side of this, like whatever. Yeah. And, you're kind of wishing it to be better. There's depression. Dude, I was straight up depressed for like 2 or 3 days. I mean, last weekend when all of our members rented out all of our stuff, as amazing as that was, I wanted to cry every time that I had to pick up an assault bike and move that thing out the gym, or pick up a rower and put it in somebody's car. It's like they were happy, but I was not in a good spot. I was not in a good spot all day. I was not in a good spot the next day. I mean, I just felt like I was sobbing from my soul. And I mean that because it's like everything that you worked for is being ripped out of your hands. And, the first opportunity people get to run, a lot of people run, and people that you think supported you don't really support you, or, whether multiple things, right? And it's just like, you thought you were cool with these people and you're not, and I'm not talking about like our members. I'm talking about just like in general, like as you go through this whole thing, everything that you have to deal with, from the people to the businesses to the processes to the, whatever, right? And I was messed up for like 2 or 3 days. And I realized, I was like, well, what would give me anxiety? What would make me not feel good? What would make me not feel great about the situation? A lot of it was not having the answers. So it was like, okay, I have all these problems. How do I solve these problems? Where's the market going to? What is the problem in the industry, and how do we solve that problem? And I needed to spend time thinking about it. And as I was able to figure out a plan of how we were going to deal with it and what we were going to do, I've started feeling a lot better. And I've finally gotten to the point to acceptance of, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to roll with it. And this is how we're going to push forward with it. And what I mean by that is this market, this economy is not going to be the same, right? If you know anything about me, if you've heard me talk, especially people on our team, the virus is what it is. Like, it's terrible and all that, but the whole situation with business entities is going to be very, very dramatic. And what I mean by that is businesses aren't going to operate the same way. Companies and entire industries will not exist at the end of this. How people do business will not exist at the end of this. It'll change. We will be alive on the other side. We will make it through to the other side. But the question is, what are you going to look like on the other side? And you're not going to die, but along the journey, you're probably going to want to die. It's going to be pretty terrible. But a lot of things are going to be good. And once I was able to look at that, and once I was able to see, okay, this is kind of what we're doing, this is where we need to get to, and I was able to see opportunity in this thing. I know I've been saying I've seen opportunity since day one, and from day one, I was like, we got to go, we got to push, we got to expand. And myself and everybody at Strongside have been very focused on that, but we just knew we needed to expand. We needed to do something. We needed to change. We needed to shift. We just didn't know what that was, right? So we've been trying to figure out what that is. And I think we figured out what it is and what we're going to be able to do. But I mean, it's really hard. You got to ask some questions. Like, we've had to look at it and say, will a physical gym even exist after this? I hope it does, but I don't even know. Will it? So what's your plan if these physical locations don't exist? What if people want to consume information differently? What if they want to exercise differently? What if they want to be on a different platform? How much money are they willing to spend, right? Like there's all these things that are massive questions. You can't just enter this thing and go, hey, we're just going to get through it. If you're just going to get through it, dude, you're not. You're going to be out at the end of this. You're not trying to get through it. You're trying to grow through it. I don't care what you're trying to do. You're like whether you own a business or don't own a business, or whether whatever the situation is, you will be different. I can promise you this, that you're either going to be better or worse off at the end of this. You will not be the same person at the end of this. You will not be the same at the end of this. And we've had a lot of growing that we've had to do in a very, very short amount of time. And I just want to be open through this whole deal and communicate through this whole deal. And, hopefully you'll see a lot of what we're doing to meet your needs along the way. But it's been really hard. That's just what I'm trying to communicate with everybody is I feel like this is a great opportunity to share the experience along the way. I want to help a bunch of people. I know that. If you saw Power Players on Wednesday, when I sat down with some guys, and every Wednesday I'm doing the show called Power Players, I think it's really selfish if we only want to help a few hundred people in the Woodstock, Georgia area. I don't want to do that. I think a lot of people benefit from our services, and we need to figure out how we're going to expand that out. And for us to say, oh, we're going to stay small is very selfish on our end, because so many people could benefit from it. So it's just stuff like that. But, I was in a very terrible spot for like 2 or 3 days. And I've gotten a lot of phone calls. I've gotten a lot of text messages. I've had a lot of crappy things happen, but I've also had a lot of really good things happen. And I appreciate a lot of people doing those phone calls and text messages. It's not all about me. I'm just sharing my story. This is something that's going on everywhere all the time. But I don't know. I just want to be vulnerable with you. Share the story with you. Say this is what we're going to do. I think starting into next week, you're going to see a lot of positive things at Strongside. You're going to see a lot of changing and shifting. We have a very, very large goal that we're going to try to launch on the 27th of this month. It needs to be fully running within our facility and with our members on the 20th, so we can trial it for a week. And then we're going to do some stuff on the 27th. You just got to accept it and roll with it. I mean, you got to ask some serious hard questions. You're going to have to make decisions that you don't want to make. You're going to have to roll with the punches of things that you don't want to get punched with. Not that anybody really ever wants to get punched, but the whole journey, the whole freaking thing is going to be really, really hard. And I think that the faster you get to acceptance, the better you can deal with it. And when you're committed to the growth and the expansion, and you understand that at the end of this, you're not going to be the same, and business is not going to operate the same. People might not consume the stuff the same way. There is not going to be any back to normal. This is the last thing I'll say, but I've been communicating with our team a lot that, I know everybody's saying the new normal. That should be a sign to you, showing you that this new normal is a thing that people are embracing, and it might just actually be the new normal. What if people get so freaked out about germs and stuff that they just want to live in their house now for a long period of time? Like, what if they don't want to go out? What if it's accepting to wear masks everywhere you go all the time? At least if you're asking those questions and you're thinking about those things, you will be over prepared for the scenarios that are about to happen. But when you start thinking like that, you start realizing that, I don't know, dude, this market is going to be different. It's going to be exciting, different. You got to push into it. It's got to be different. But in 45, 60, 90 days, when we're rocking and rolling, I don't know. It's going to be a good journey. So my goal is just to share my journey with you a whole lot along the way. Hopefully it's a good journey. And let's just start with some Facebook videos. Maybe it rolls into something else. But I always want to be open with you, tell you what we're doing. Hit that acceptance phase as fast as you can. It was a very, very dark few days for me. I'm not saying it's not dark anymore. It's probably going to get darker. But let's just rock and roll.